we go. I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto ye, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me again on another day, another moment for us to explore the stories that we tell ourselves. It's almost like that's been a reoccurring theme on these streams. Some of you might know that I'm someone who takes the stories we tell ourselves very seriously because I believe it's pretty much what you'll get to be, right? Whatever story you tell yourself about your own existence, your own experiences, your own process will become your life, right? Very much so. And it can feel like a immense amount of responsibility, too much sometimes, even. But I also believe that it is what we came here to be, right? Responsible for a lifetime, our own lifetime. This thing looks a little bit not level, but it is level. This thing isn't level. It's breaking my brain. Maybe I'll do it like this. Yeah, we got rock in the background. Is the stream coming through clearly? I do hope so. I see Shan joining me and Joy Vive. It's nice having you, dear friends. Sending you love. Hey, Jovan is here too. Sending you love. Thank you for joining us. Lesson 16 has come up so many times. I want to read one of the ones that I haven't read nearly as much. The story, right? I feel like this is very much the one. Maybe I'll read a bunch of them. Yeah, I feel like lesson 2 was a fire one. Yeah, it keeps going. Man, it really keeps going. I'll start from here. Creation, right? Everything that has been created, apparently, is an ongoing process. You will never cease to be, right? How about that? That this thing that is creation, be it the story you tell yourself about your own life, or be it the actual reality that you're participating in right now, has always, will always be, right? You will never cease to be. So what you is, decree is anything you say, right? If you tell yourself a story about how horrible your life is, then the universe is like, yeah, your life does suck, actually. It's not gonna disagree with you. It's gonna be like, yeah, yeah, you go. You totally got it. What is what you have chosen to make of it. Yeah, that there's no good or bad thing, but thought makes it so, right? The story, the person makes it so. There's no winning or losing, lest you make it so, lest you tell yourself the story that you have lost something. If you were in a competition, you might have lost the prize, the first prize, but you still gained the level of self assurance that you can go and do something, right? Gaining something because you decreed it so. More. Learn only to create as God creates. That one is a bit extreme. How does one learn to create like God creates? Feels a little bit easier said than done. But apparently, God starts with a vision. Then, on top of the vision, or underneath the vision, inside of the vision, starts building a skeleton, the outlines for how it's supposed to be. And then from those outlines, you get to build up again. I listened yesterday while exercising to this rabbi talking about the way God creates, apparently. And I'm only half through the podcast, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's continue. I'm literally the creator of what I experience. Yes. Yes. Looking at your own hand, you're the one looking at your own hand. You're creating that experience for yourself. You are forever linked to the mind of God, right? Have you ever not been aware? No, yeah. Oh, congratulations. I need do nothing, for mastery comes when you know you are literally and deliberately creating the story, right? You are literally creating your story right now. All you have to do now is be deliberate about what story it is you want to create. You are worthy of creation and all that you create. So stop and say, it is very good. Look at everything in your life and look at it from a place of awe. Own it as self created. It is very good, and I have done this, and it is good that I have created. This specific line came from this story that he was telling about growing a garden. That you can grow a garden and completely fail. Every single one of your little plants can die, dead and thirsty. And you'll get to see this thing that you've created, right? Dead plants who died having no water to feed them. And you can be like, yeah, it is very good. I have done this. And it is good that I have created. Instead of telling yourself a story of like, oh, I can't. Look, I failed. So clearly I cannot. No. No, you can. The reality of who you are cannot be destroyed. One of my favorites. Right? Think about that one. The reality of who you are, the I am, the awareness of being, cannot be destroyed. Your awareness of being cannot be squeezed from you, no matter how tight things get, right? And then one more. I cannot be further from you than the width of a thought. Create that thought, right? And that I am and the you can be pretty much anything, including a relationship you're looking for, including a dream you have for your life. It is a thought away, friend. And all you have to do is create that thought. Create and believe that what you create shall be worthy. You're sitting somewhere new, Melt. I am. I am. Usually the Wi Fi doesn't reach here. I don't even know if it is properly, but I'm hoping it does. It's nice to be in a new space. I haven't had this perspective looking out streaming either. It is influencing me. It's affecting my awareness of being. Hosanna, thank you for joining us too. It's nice having you. This view looks like a natural hug. Yeah. I mean, this tree above me is one of my favorites. I sit on that rock a lot to just meditate. Here we go. I want to put my face on the large rock, see if it's warm. Give your face a feeling, but I can use my hand, and it's not warm. It's like not cold, but it's not warm. It's like just okay, like room temperature rock right now. Joy V, I took a nap on a cool rock with my dog on a really hot hiking trip. It was awesome. Were you laying on your back? Did you have a little pillow? Did you like scrunch to get one of your bags? Like I've laid on a rock as well, but I usually like having like a headrest. There's a space on the copy Magneta that looks like a seat. It has like a flat end and then it lifts up a little bit and then it goes down again. So when you go and sit on it, your back goes directly against the flat end and your bum almost like gets caught by that little seating area. And I call it like the spaceship seat. I guess I forgot what I called it the first time I gave it a name. But it very much feels like you're sitting at the cockpit of a massive spaceship flying into space. It's very much a cool experience. Maybe you'll get to sit on that rock as well one day, Doug Dad. Joy V, if you have no idea what's been pooping on that rock, so many things have been pooping on. There's still poops on that rock. I can see them right now. Especially when this tree is full of mulberries. There's so many birds eating them and pooping on that rock. That rock is seen a lot of poop. So much poop. Loizana, Duck, Joy, Shan, probably Silent Sam, and maybe Natalie. Love y'all as we love you. Probably Silent. You called it. See you too, Sam. Thank you for sending some love, dear friend. Rock nap. That sounds nice. It does, doesn't it? Joy V, it was sweaty and camping and hiking through some probably not your jam. A beach might be nice though. Hey, it's this gardening story, a documentary about my past? Maybe. Maybe I knew you were here and I chose to say exact words that I needed to say. How about that, duck down? This is the way, friends. This is the way. It really is the story that we tell ourselves. And I came to a conclusion today. You know, yesterday we talked about it a little bit as well. The whole camping thing, right? And I've been thinking about it a lot. And I noticed myself almost like just running in a circle of thinking about the same few things over and over again. So I decided to journal about it. And in writing it down, I was like, huh. These perceived problems I think I have. Or maybe not even problems, just discomforts, that I'm anticipating really aren't that big of a deal, especially if you can just see them on the outside, right? Because on the inside narrative, the inside story, we can really blow things out of proportion, make them out to be bigger than they actually are. Hey, blue sky cloud. I don't know if you're still here, friend, but I'm sending you love. You gather them and you get a free spin every 24 hours and you can win different numbers of dudes. Ah, I like it. Rock on. So yeah, maybe I'm not supposed to tell myself any stories right now. One of the stories I've been telling myself though is an extreme amount of pride in the yoga space that we've built as well. Like it's actually becoming something larger than I could have known. Feeling bad for missing names in the yoga as well. How about that? Oh goodness. The act of doing something day after day after day is a very interesting story. The act of being willing to just keep going. Right? Like I feel like this is a lesson that I've been learning for a long time. And I wish I knew exactly what the outline of the lesson was supposed to be. I was thinking about our conversation yesterday, Duck Dad sharing his want for me to be free, if you will. And then just again, as I was like going through this internal story, I could tell myself this convincing narrative around find something that you love so much that nothing can stop you from doing it. Right? And realizing that it's not easy to do that. It's not easy to do that. It's almost like knowing what story you want to tell yourself in the grand scheme of things. And then while knowing what story you want to tell yourself in the grand scheme of things, beginning to tell yourself that story now. Knowing full well that that story isn't the way that you think of it to be just yet, at least. And then having to figure out on the way there. It's this weird trip of, I believe in what it is we're doing here. I believe in the capacity we have to change the world. But I worry that I'm stuck in the visionary stage, right? That I'm not doing enough to think about the other sides of it. I'm not doing enough to develop a skeleton that we can kind of add meat to, in so many words. And then at the same time, I realized that that story is unfolding right in front of us right now, right? That this process that we've kind of embarked upon isn't done. And with the way that we kind of decided to do it infinitely, it never will be. It never will be. Is that a Zano I see? Seeing you and sending your love it. Thank you for joining us, friends. Nice having you. What kind of tree is that? This one is a mulberry tree. It's a mulberry tree. It's got berries. I just realized that Eva's sitting rock next to Melt. We ventured way further than usual today. Yeah. The difference in perspective. Like, I mean, I would technically prefer to have it like this. But I don't know if it would be the best viewing experience for you friends. I look like a mushroom growing from the ground. I am a mushroom. Melty looking very neon and 80s today. I can dig it. Yeah. I really like this shirt. I got to get my brother to wear it for that little thing we did with my family, and I like the way that he looked at it as well. I was thinking about it today while putting it on. It's like it's both our shirts now. Thank you, Joy V. Duckling was cold. She's super cranky. Wife had to go to the office, and I've been struggling 1 straight hour of tantrums, screaming for mommy. I'm trying so hard to keep my cool, but it's just exhausting and frustrating. Oh, I can't even imagine. I mean, I can. I can imagine it, right? But most of my frustrations for children have come for children that weren't mine, right? Having frustrations with your own child, I feel is like a whole vibe. Not necessarily a good one. Oh goodness. And I've heard from many of you friends that children these days, maybe it's just children all of the days, tend to be spicy when it comes to testing the human capacity for love. I want to choke you to death, but I love you, so I'm gonna stop myself. Joy V, today's flower will be gorgeous. I'm already looking forward to it as well, right? I'm sending you strength, Brother Duck Dad. Good luck, Brother Bear. Joy V is also the color scheme of Cool Kids Snowboarders of the 2000s. Yeah, cowabunga, dudes. It's like that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Cowabunga, anyway, dudes. We'll live in sewers and ride skateboards, eat pizza or something. Thanks for the birth control, Doug. Sorry you're dealing with that. Have you tried Benadryl to Benadryl the small human? Isn't Benadryl bad for humans? Hey Google, what is the negative side effects of Benadryl? Yeah, dry mouth and drowsiness, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, constipation, increased chest congestion. Hey Google, are you supposed to give Benadryl to children? In children, Benadryl should generally only be used to treat allergic reactions under the advice of a pediatrician. Alternative treatment should be discussed for its other uses, as we will discuss later. Benadryl should only be given to older children and can be unsafe for the very young. Yeah, so no Benadryl for the kids. Thank you for the suggestion, though. At least we know better. It is. You snowboarded? I never snowboarded, unfortunately. Enjoy Vive. It's been a couple of years due to snow in my area, but I've been known to enjoy a gnarly sesh. Shan, I know you know. Sending love. Yeah, I was thinking about Shan as well when you mentioned the spiciness. I was like thinking about Shan. I know you know. It's so damn incomprehensible that this little human fights so damn hard what against what keeps her alive. Yeah. Unfortunately, kids are not wise. They're smart, but they're not very wise. Oh, they don't know how much human beings do for them. Is that a Dan I see? Hey, dude, it's nice seeing you, bro. I've been watching a show that played off in New York, and unfortunately, I don't know if it's that unfortunate, but you are attached to that mentality for me. How are you finding New York? Are you still living there, brother Dan? Do you want to stay? How's the whole bank thing? How are you? I've been thinking about you a lot, brother bear. Duck, I think you're me. but with a human duckling instead of a bunch of animals. Can't wait for the next snowboard trip. How often do you go for ones, actually? I love mulberries. I do too, but these aren't the best mulberries, Anna. Like they're kind of small, and the birds start eating them before they're ripe. I think they make NyQuil for kids, duck. I don't know if drugging our children to get them to behave is something we want to participate in. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Kids are little humans like all of us, right? And if it terrifies you to imagine the government drugging you so that you can be complacent and obedient, then we should probably not do that to our kids either. Share it by chance. Wait a second. Shan, on the plus side, yesterday we manifested extreme abundance at this place. I picked up the nursery stuff. I want to share it with you all when I have a chance to type it out. Please do, duck that. That makes me so happy to hear that. Even more abundance to you. Brother Joe Schmo doing a drive-by super love. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. I'm trying to catch you soon again. I'll try to catch you soon again. Hugs and fuzzy throw rugs. Sending love to our beloved Joe Schmo. Unfortunately, now, love and fuzzy throw rugs takes me back to the Big Lebowski. That freaking rug really tied the room together. It's so stupid. I'm kind of out of my depth here. Sam, yo, melt people again, Dad. Love to you. It's nice having you. I thought mulberries came on bushes, but no, upgrade. They grow on trees. Yeah, they literally grow on trees. And like there's a bunch of different species as well. I've seen massive, like finger size, thumb size mulberries. This one has like half of my pinky mulberries, unfortunately. Maybe if I give it more water, it'll have thicker mulberries. Who knows? Throw water balloon full of love to drive by and shut you. Love is true. Oh, no, I know it all too well. It took Amara till this year to understand how blowing your nose is extremely helpful, along with drinking water. You know, just the basics. Blow your nose, consume hydrogen and some oxygen molecules, you know, have been combined because your body is made up of like 70% of it and stuff. Yeah. Makes me think of that whole fractal of a woman not knowing how to use soap. Right? How many things do we try to teach our kids that they just fight against? Like drinking water, for example. Like drinking freaking water. It's like, yeah, you're gonna die if you don't drink water. Yeah. Who even needs it? I just returned to New York from San Diego. Were you like visiting a little bit, Brother Dan? Let me see, Sam. It would be awesome. I went on Seven Bridge hike. I did a 25-mile bike ride to Coronado Bay. And I chilled with my dad at his place in La Jolla. A very relaxing place to be. Sounds like blessings all around, Dan. I'm happy to hear all of those things, friend. She is the absolute spiciest. Not the surprise with my wife and I being spicy, but goddamn. Yeah, unfortunately, I was also a spicy child myself. Thank you, Jovan, for the updates. And hey, Julia. I was also a particularly spicy person. And I'm already terrified of my future kids. Can't imagine them being any less spicy. In fact, I would hope for them to be more than spicy, right? I kind of imagine it from this perspective of that spice of life, that visceral willingness to stand up for yourself and for what you believe in is what propels people into whatever success is to them, right? Your unwillingness to compromise the story that you want to be told will ensure that that story gets told, right? And yeah, maybe that's one way to see it, Duck, that the spiciness that your child inhibits isn't a bad thing, but her vitality to actually ensure the life that she wants to lead, right? And she might be wrong, right? And I get that this is what you're going through probably right now, that You don't know what you're talking about, yo. I'm the adult. I know what's good for you. But the fact that she wants her story told the way that she wants it told, encourage that energy while at the same time trying to steer her correctly. And I know that's probably already what you're doing, but I'm just trying to plant seeds in your head of like, this is good. All of this spice that's making me lose my mind, it's good. Hi, it's fantastic. I'm loving it. It's so good. Oh goodness. Return. She is the absolute spiciest. Yo, Richard. How was San Diego? What did you see? I feel like parenthood is so hard. Y'all are raising little humans, and I have respect for you, right? Imagine if Zoe Burb could actually like speak full sentences, tell you what a horrible person you are, even though the only thing you've been trying to do is take care of them. It's like, what do you mean I suck? Oh, what the fuck? Why are you like this, child? Why are you like this? The parrot just echoes at least. Ah, yes, I'm excited to hear about this extreme abundance, Doug. Same, same, same. Shan, the amount of fights we have had, hours of fights about blowing noses. I know it's a sensory thing for her, but she fights it like we're trying to stab her with a hot knife. Oh, goodness. Can I trade mine for a parrot? Can you use neti pots on children? Would that be easier for her? Hey, Google, what is neti pots? Neti pots. Nasal irrigation devices. Oh, hell nah. Oh, oh, hell nah. Oh, hell nah, dude. Like, I was also one of those kids who didn't want to have their noses blown. But I had very logical reasons for not wanting my nose blown. Because in South Africa, at least when I was a child, handkerchiefs were still a thing. All right. So every single time I had a stuffy nose, I would watch either a grandma or a grandpa, vice versa, take a handkerchief out of their, what do they call them? Bosom pockets. Yes, out of a bosom pocket, or this grandpa taking it out of his like shirt pocket or out of his main pockets, and then giving it to me. And me knowing that handkerchiefs are supposed to be reused, I would refuse. I'd be like, oh nah, I'm cool, thank you. Right? Like being handed a handkerchief from someone's bosom pocket and it's warm and slightly moist, like that shit doesn't sit right with a 4-year-old. So I was like, no thank you. No, no thank you. And I'm seeing it on the other side, right? From the adult side, where the adults are like losing their minds, just wanting this child to blow their nose. And the child being like, yeah, nah, I'm not touching any of that stuff you just gave me. Several knife. She won't blow her nose. I think a neti pot would be beyond her. Yeah, that's why I went straight for the hell nah. Like for me, it was like a hell nah to get like my nose blown because of the reusable handkerchiefs and where they came from. But even worse than that, imagining myself as a child getting water thrown into my nasal cavity and then going, I was nah. Oh hell no. Like just even thinking about it. Jovan, I want to snowboard and relive the scene days with you. I mean, I think it's again one of those stories things, right, Doc? That sure, maybe in the past your story might have had more snowboarding days, but you're clearly not done telling your stories, right? And your little one will grow up eventually, and then you can take her snowboarding with you. How about that? Wouldn't that be an experience? Mel, were you talking before about all those silly phrases? Talk the talk, walk the walk, put your money where your mouth is. I listen to very smart persons say one time words are hollow behavior is the true communication. It's very hard to embody the sentiment. Okay, I'm going to try and understand what you're saying, Zano. Melt, were you talking before about all of those silly phrases? Talk the talk, walk the walk, put your money where your mouth is. I wasn't. I'm guessing you're talking about today's title being Meltmore told stories about storytelling. I'm just technically telling a story, right? My perspective of what storytelling has done for me when it comes to my own life, right? Being able to realize as I'm telling myself a negative story about how I'm somehow not prepared enough, not worthy enough, not good enough, etc., 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 and telling myself a different story, right? I'm telling that story of storytelling. But I'm hearing what you're saying with the talk and walk the walk, or put your money where your mouth is, and how you're attaching that to, again, you listen to a very smart person say, one time words are hollow behavior is the true communication. That one, I'm not exactly sure what you're meaning. One time words are hollow behaviors. That is the true communication. Behavior. Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. One time words are hollow. Behavior is kind of attached to that as well, Zano, where this stream is a story to me, right? That I have started by telling the story from an egoic point of view, where it was, I will do this, right? I will do a stream every day for a year was my initial goal, right? And then as we started telling that story, I realized that the story isn't about me. Not shifted from the point that I can do this thing to I'm doing this thing because I love it, right? And this is, in a way, a behavior, I believe at least, trying to tell the story of love in a way where I'm trying to convince you of how powerful it is, right? Very much, oh, if you love something, you'll do it. Oh, goodness, and nothing will be able to stop you. Nothing. No, nothing. Like, actually, nothing. Not even death will stop us. Talk the talk, the beyond. It's beyond a lot of people, to be honest, Joy. Yeah, I've thought about it, right? The neti pot thing, just for the sake of kind of like having your nasal cavities clean. But as a child, I can't even imagine it. Sam, you could, but you would never get her to do it. She's incredibly reactive to anything that feels weird. Exactly. Hypersensitive individuals. I can put my burp in his room when he misbehaves, but imagine if your kiddo had wings, pliers, and a foghorn. It's not a fair trade. Yeah, literally. Faces pliers. And the amount of curiosity. And like parrots will straight up misbehave, right? Like they'll lose their shit and start destroying things if they're super upset. Like they, they ain't got no stop at any pot. Yeah, right. I would absolutely be a riot, duck, scene kids unite. Listen, again, thank you for sharing that, Zana. You are communicating with your actions, right? With your, what's the word, exact word you used? There we go. Uh, behavior. Behavior is the word you use. Behavior. How are you behaving? Right? And I do believe your behavior originates from the story you tell yourself, right? Like, I'm not going to behave like a good person if I keep telling myself the story of what a horrible person I am, right? Oh, every single person I talk to, I hurt. Every single person that comes across me leaves feeling horrible about themselves and about the life they're living, right? And now I go to talk to someone. Obviously, that story, my behavior is going to reflect the story that I'm telling myself, right? At least that's the way I'm seeing it with the communication I'm trying to impart right now. This thing is so unbalanced. Some mild scratching. Usually this thing kind of leans against the. Okay, second. Sound stuff, embody the sentiment. Words are wins on only action counts. Only action. Ah, I feel they have varying degrees of importance, right? Because it starts with a thought, which I don't think I embody you, right? And then that thought can lead to words, which I also don't think embody you. And then those words can lead to actions, which very much is an embodied activity, right? So I feel like it's a stacking on top of itself kind of thing with that. Mm, 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 mm. Yes, joy. That's another one. There is so many ways to say it. I guess it must be important. Oh yes, it is. Richard, my jaw dropped and eyes nearly popped out of my head reading your comment. That sounds like a whole vibe. Did you get pictures? If you did, do send us some photos, please. You're a person of action, Zano. Look at your wonderful exhibit and your new job. You stopped the basement, contractor, thieves, so much actions, right? 100% though. And I feel like we should start gathering evidence, right? Like that is something I've been kind of bad at myself, but I did start journals for it of gathering evidence, right? If you want to tell yourself a story of who you want to be, right? If you establish that you want to be a certain type of person, what evidence do you have to gather in order to prove that you're that type of person, right? And then begin gathering evidence. Actually begin gathering evidence that you are, and because you got proof. You got proof that you do the things, right? Mm, we used to have to stuck to suck the snot out of her head. Oh hell no! We had to hold her down and literally suck the snot out of her nose with a device. If we didn't, the snot gets into her lungs and she got really sick. On a different note, I posted in general Discord. Does my shirt pass the melt shirt vibe check? Let me see. Rena sharing something as well. When you were born in a world you don't fit in, it's because you were born to help create a new one. There we go. I don't know how many compliments I gave while being disconnected, but I'm back. My sentiment was I approve, Brother Bear. The shirt is fire. The vibe check. Yup, Amara wouldn't even let me do that duck. The booger sucker was a no go. It always ended up in her chest. Ah, shame. I'm pretty sure you can drop the vote of confidence. Wait a second. You can drop kids and babies off at fire stations. You can tell them to call when she's feeling better. That's brutal. Oh goodness. Thank you for the vote of confidence. I feel like I take action as best I can. I wish others in my life would do the same. Wouldn't that be great, Asano? If everybody just, for at least an hour a day, did something that was loving. The stream break, it did for a moment, Joy Vive, but I believe it's back. If everybody could just do something in the direction of love every day for 1 hour, I believe literally in like 2 days, the world will be a better place. Just like instantaneously almost. I know how the life would be simpler if you could make people act right. Yeah, there's a lot of work being done about how to make people act right. And it's not hard to act right, right? Like we know what is required, but it's not always easy, unfortunately. I feel it's not supposed to be. I feel if it was easy, there would be nothing to take pride in. Pride can also be something that can drag you down, can make you push people away. So it's like this interconnected, intricate kind of fractal that we're participating in to learn how we're supposed to be ourselves right now. How to tell the correct story, right? Shan, we wouldn't do it after she turned 2. I'm talking infant. Oh, yeah. Would you try a spa day? Heat up a pot of water, dangle duck it over it while making dad jokes. I'm just imagining Duck Dad holding her by her feet over the water, being like, yeah, you just breathe that steam. Losing her. No, no. You just breathe steam right now? This is not good for you. Oh, goodness. I forgot. Wait a second. The Steam might help those passages open up. I got you, Doug. Sam, we do Steam 10s in her. Fairy 10. She tolerates it, but only for 5 to 7 minutes. That's at least something. She doesn't like steamy showers. I forgot. Lol, yes, Mel, you got it. Sometimes I feel like storytelling attached to living sounds like a bad thing. Storytelling attached to living sounds like a bad thing. I feel To a lot of people, especially to those who believe themselves to be themselves, right? You can think of storytelling as something that's bad because they're not realizing that they're telling themselves a story, you know? It's this joke of you are a story, right? Everything you think you are is a story. That you aren't all of these things that have happened to you. You aren't all of the things that you've ever eaten. You aren't all of the experiences you've had. You are that which experiences. And then the ego, the version that you call me, the, the person you point at when you see a group photo to point at yourself, that is the story, right? Oh, yeah, I look like this. I was like tripping out about that today, waking up. The continuity, the fact that I keep waking up as myself. I'm like, I guess I melt more again today. Wait a second. I'm still myself. How about that? Right? It's so convincing. The story has convinced us completely that we are what we think we are, right? And then just realizing that you are actively telling that story and you can choose to tell a different one. You can choose to tell yourself a story of love, of getting better at things, right? Of being a capable human being. Is that more skew or less skew? It's more skew physically in my reality, but it looks less skew virtually, like in the digital realm. It'll be fine. It has to be fine now. I'm gonna change it again. Mm-mm-mm-mm. How are you supposed to keep her alive? She doesn't like anything touching her. She doesn't like showers or hot waters on her skin. Does she shower cold? I'm curious. Like Mel said, she is highly sensitive kid from a sensory perspective. She goes straight reptilian survival mode when she won't let us show her things are safe. Fear is her biggest motivation. And it is a lot of people's, unfortunately. Hey Google, why are people so motivated by fear? Fear motivation is the internal process of moving yourself away from what you don't want. Fear is a powerful motivator because it makes us uncomfortable. And as we move away from that discomfort, we gain comfort. Hmm. How interesting, right? Because I enjoy making myself uncomfortable because I see it as an act of love, right? So I like moving towards the discomfort because I feel from a place of love it makes me stronger, more capable of being loving. But I guess it took me a lot of time to get to that perspective, and it's unreasonable for me to expect a child to have the same. How can we get kids there faster? Is my question, really. That resonates big, Lizano. Growing up around more animals than people, and with critters picking up on body language, I was held accountable for my inner feelings and behavior that followed. It's not easy being perpetually mindful of our projections, but practicing it is like maintaining your well being. Being aware of it is a good step in the right direction. You're doing amazing, fam. So beautifully said, Jovan. Thank you. I saw a bird flying past me while I was reading your words as well. Sam, tell me about it. Takes learning to work with and around her. It is really hard and it breaks me down even at this moment. I don't know how old she is. I forgot, Duck Dad, but I'm gonna echo something that I know you already know. The fact that she'll grow up and it will get easier. You'll get along a little bit better, slowly but surely. My stepdad, made his kids hold ice cubes when they couldn't get them to stop screaming about stuff. He said it worked because they were thinking about how bad they felt, just how cold the ice was. How about that? Why would a kid want to hold ice, though, is the question. Sam, I can't get her to hold ice on her head. When she smacks it, I am feeling seen by all the suggestions of try this and like, yup, been there. All of us just want to help, right? All of us know that you're probably going through a lot, and that it's not easy, and that we want for you to have a better experience. So know that all of the suggestions aren't you're not doing good enough. It's can we help? We want to help. It's like someone complaining about a stomach ache, so you stomp on the complainer's foot, and miraculously their stomach doesn't hurt. That's the stream breaking it for a second. I can't. Just not problem solved, Doug. Yeah, there it is. I agree, and it is because we love him, right? Mel, that is ego talking. When you try your best to gather evidence, and with said evidence, others will follow suit. Melt, is it ego talking when you try your best to gather evidence, and with said evidence, others will follow suit? I don't know if others will follow suit, but I believe with evidence, nobody can dispute, right? And I feel that's an important distinction to make because what we're trying to do, Zana, is tell the story of ourselves, right? And then part of your story is that you're an artist, that you're someone who helps other people make art as a means of therapy, right? And you are gathering the evidence for that, right? Like you have works of art. Nobody can take away the fact that you have made art from you, right? So you have gathered that evidence. And in a way, you can consider it ego. I feel a part of me does consider it ego, but I also believe that we're not supposed to melt away our ego. We're supposed to melt more our ego, right? Realizing that the ego is something that is malleable, something that can continually be shaped. And as you tell the story of your life, your ego kind of follows suit, right? Your ego is the storyteller in a weird way. So what we're trying to get to, I believe at least, is telling a good story, right? Telling a story that convinces other people that love is true. And if that is egoic, I believe at least you're trying to use your ego for something good instead of something destructive. So again, right? Like all of us have egos. We can't get rid of it. And even if we manage to get rid of it, it's going to come back, right? Differently, stronger, with new survival mechanisms every single time. So by becoming mindful of that process of the more I do of something, right? For instance, exercise is a big one of those. It took me so long to actually start exercising for myself, right? I always exercised for a reason. Like I was, I need to lose weight, or I want to look a certain way, or if I exercise and become strong enough, people won't pick on me, or nah, 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 nah. All of these stories that I was telling myself about why it is I'm supposed to be exercising. It was fear based, right? I was trying to escape something uncomfortable, looking at myself in the mirror and not seeing what I think I'm supposed to be seeing, seeing myself seen by others and feeling like they're judging me for the way I'm looking, etc., etc., etc. All of these stories, right? And as soon as I kind of established a story that I exercise because it is going to help me stay alive longer, right? It's good for me on a fundamental level. It changed the way that I saw the evidence that I was gathering, right? Now I have spent so many days exercising that there's proof that I am someone who exercises, right? Like it's impossible for me to convince myself otherwise because in an egoic way, I have done it over and over again. I've gathered the evidence. And sure, another person might see that drive to exercise as an egoic attachment or an egoic pursuit, but the evidence proves that it's good for me. It's good for you, right? So even if people perceive the way that you're telling your story as egoic, if the evidence suggests that what you're doing is loving, then it doesn't matter, right? At least I would like to believe. Then it doesn't matter. You have to be loving, right? And even if that love means loving yourself, even especially if that love means loving yourself. Mm-mm. I hope that helps, Zano. Thank you for letting me go through that mindset as well. I feel like it helped me. Oh, Doc, I'm feeling you so much, friend. Love is true. You need more bad suggestions. Just hit me up. Shan, it's so damn hard. I just want to cuddle, take care of her, and be my fun, silly self. But the PTSD responses are so strong. It's a constant Jekyll and Hyde, no time to reset. She's the Jekyll and Hyde in this scenario, or are you? I'm curious, actually, Doc Dad. Yours are good. I only got drug her or give her away. Sam, there are great suggestions for 9 out of 10 kids. I got the one though, Joy V. Those do resonate to me a bit more than I'd like to admit. And I know, right? And I like there's a whole skit kind of around that topic in the unstoppable, the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, I think the show's not called, where there was this drug called discipline, right? And they would just give their kids discipline, and they would go from, yeah, woo, life is great to, okay, mommy, can I go down the slide? Wee, can I go down the slide again? Right? Literally ripping from them their joy. The only way for us to get our children to completely behave is to expect them to be something they're not, mindless, right? We don't want our children to be mindless. We kind of appreciate them having minds of their own, even though them having minds of their own is the bane of our existence some days. Very much so. There's an 8. I have another one. But weaponizing spicy food against a 3-year-old with sensory issues feels wrong, even to me. Yeah. Yeah, don't. All right, I'm not a parent, but weaponizing anything against your child sounds like a bad bet to me. I found that shirt from a pile of unlooked at gifts from my aunt. The universe sent me Mel's shirt. I love it, dude. Like the symbolism, all of it. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. Capable human being. Stop judging me. I found that shirt. Does she like pineapple, dog? Does the spicy food trick still work to clear sinuses after you have the novelty stuff that makes you unable to taste it? How about that? I wonder. I wonder if it would. I'm guessing that it works because it's an irritant. So maybe if it doesn't irritate you, maybe it doesn't work. You guys, she is like, wait a second. There we go. She is just like me. I'm wired for the hunter-gatherer days. So in her mind, so is so in her mind, but everything is a threat that she is fighting. Shan, she does sometimes. Like pineapple. You guys are help, and I'm calmer now than when I started. I know with all my heart that none of you are judging me. It means the world. Oh, of course not. There was not even a moment where I thought, how dare Doug Dad be a dad and stuff and have a child that's difficult. How dare he? Duck Dad doesn't have any problems whatsoever, always. All of these ideas that I had about Duck Dad threw it. No, all of us are proud of ourselves. Oh, goodness. And I'm looking forward to the day when there's a little mini me, right? There's going to be a little melt sitting next to me. Elkin, his name will probably be. He's going to try and ruin my life as well. I'm going to be like, yeah, you can try, oh. You can try and lose your shit completely. I'm gonna be calm. Balanced, in fact. Loses his mind even more. I'm calming down even more now. Yeah, having a sick child, who does that? Fortunately, no one here. Pineapple juice could help with breaking down mucus and introduce inflammation if she's up with drinking it and can get your hands on some, doc. That's a good idea. Thank you, Shan, for offering your medicine mother wisdom. Drop her off at one of the grandmas, put a note on her, put her on the porch, ring the doorbell, and run. Don't forget to turn off your phone. Oh, goodness. I'm happy Joy Vive only has cats. Thank you, universe. Thank you for giving Joy Vive cats. Joy Vive is like, yeah, I'm also, thank you. Thank you for giving me cats. Doug Dad sending you and Doug luck, comfort, and joy. Thank you, Loisana. Yes, I guess I've spent a long time learning ego slash storytelling. It is something to be beaten. Is it something to be beaten or fought? I realize these things are not true now. I feel it's like a dual cutting sword, right? Where if you're telling yourself stories of pain, of fear, of suffering, right? realizing you're doing that, or I'm seeing it from this perspective of like a stage, right? Like your brain is this stage for this play to kind of unfold, right? And whatever unfolds on the stage, you as the observer will get to see because you're always the one looking, right? So if you choose to act out in your stage fear, suffering, stories of your own inadequacy, stories of how you were unworthy, then the observer will see that story, right? And I believe things gain momentum. The more you contribute energy to something, the stronger and stronger that story becomes. So then, being able to take on, this awareness that a story you're telling yourself might not be something that serves you, and then transition to telling yourself a different story in the same capacity, right? And vice versa, realizing that if you're telling yourself a story of love, of compassion, of hope for our future, then that's the story your observer will get to experience. And you're the one experiencing it. So tell yourself a story that you want to be listening to, right? Perpetuate the story of love in your own mind because you're the one getting to experience it, right? It's going to be great. And I am a strong proponent for this if you tell yourself a story of love because it will serve others as well. But you're going to be the one that gets to experience that story first, right? You're the one telling the story, and you're the one experiencing the story. And then, if you choose to speak words and act out in actions, then other people will get to see the story as well. Pineapple juice. Oh, joy vive. Parents get judged so much. It's a very common feeling to feel I'm not doing enough or the right things. It's really cool that Mel was empathetic with it. I don't feel that way, but my wife does. I'm sending you love, Doug Dad. You're strong, Brother Bear. Like I feel I've been given the experiences to kind of understand where you're coming from in some ways as well. Right? My mom tends to be pretty spicy when it comes to childcare. Like yesterday, after finishing my stream, I heard her on the phone of somewhere, really losing her mind about how she never asked anybody to raise her kids for her, right? And even though I could hear in my mom's voice and in my mom's perspective that she took great pride in raising us alone, right? That she was the main caretaker in our lives. I can hear that she's like, I was the one who raised my kids. It also hurts me at the same time because kids were never supposed to be raised that way, right? That we have designed a society where parents are expected to be the only ones to ever raise their children. And if you ask your parents, if you ask, your sister, if you ask a nanny to take care of your child, now suddenly you're a worse parent. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair to children or to the parents that have to take care of them. Things are changing. Maybe that's the story I'm supposed to tell myself, is that things are changing, very much so. They have changed to be the way they are right now, and they will change to be better, right? It's just a matter of time and what we're showing up for, the story we're telling ourselves. Nope, no judgment at all, Duck. I totally understand and feel your pain. I only wish I could help. If only I could insta send you some oils. Me can't insta send them, but they might take some time. I have to go. Lurker now, going to put some love forward. We'll see you again soon, Duck Dad. Feeling big love in his house. I'm thankful for you friends here. Seriously, highest quality humans, bringing to the best selves to the one, bringing the best selves to one another. Love is so true. I see bubbles pushing up against one another. And the place, it was like three bubbles. And the place where they kind of connect created this almost like energy field where they were pushing up against one another. Technically, their membranes become one and the same, but they were still existing as individualized entities. Is that a Connor and a Lolo I see? Yahooga! Yahoo! Seeing you, sending you love, dear friends. It's nice having you. Candace is here too, sending you also love, friend. It's nice having you here. Me as Jekyll and Hyde. Okay, Doug Dad. That I feel even more. You like Elkin? Elkin was the name I told my mom I'll call my son when I was a 6-year-old. I don't know where that came from. I went to my mom after thinking about having a child one day, and I was like, Mama, als ik nog een kind gaan krijgen, ga ik hem Elkin noemen. And apparently, this I found out like, I think 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Elkin means God creates. So I'm like, yeah, 100% I'm gonna call him Elkin. I know a lady who got mauled by an elk. That took a turn. We can't let kids be free because they can do things like refuse to drink water. Exactly. For the record, I let her be totally crazy. My version of wanting her to comply is just eating, sleeping, hygiene, and avoiding imminent death. I want her to be free, but I want her to be safe as well. Is what I'm guessing the rest of that message could be saying. I could completely see that, right? Like, it's not like we want the world of our kids. We just want them to take care of themselves. And yeah, see, I've noticed the same fractal not with children, right? So I can't even imagine how hard it must be for you to be your children. You know, you wanting them to perform to the best of their abilities and them not wanting to listen to you, believing that you're trying to hurt them even. Howdy, friends. I have a second interview with the president of a community college this afternoon, asking for good vibes today. I'm seeing a pool completely made of white water. It's very much white water. It's not milk, it's white water. It looks like white water. It's like semi-translucent. What's inside here? A snail. How about that? It was an odd snail because as I was like trying to peer into the white water, I saw these two little eyes emerging from the water. Is that my mom? Hallo ma. Wat brengen we van mij? Kaartjes. Infus Christian, ja. Hierdie was, dankie mama. Hierdie was this Joel? Yeah, it was. Joel sent some letters. Very cool. I'm gonna leave this one for Christian when I see him again. And this one is for me. It's saying Dylan and Lisa Hayden. So I'm guessing it's baked potato. This one is Christian's though. I want to open. I'm curious. 11:11. There's 11 friends watching right now. Yeah. More synchronicities. Sending you even more good vibes, Lolo. So I was talking about the snail. Like first the eyes arose from the white water. And then while I was like, that's kind of weird, the rest of him kind of came up and he had like a very cute-ish face. Very kind of almost like a nerd. You know, if a snail was a nerd, that's what the snail looked like. The animals using the rock. It's like a little bit of a vantage point. Where's Kitty going? Ooh, like a stretchy. Ooh, stretchy. To be a cat on a farm. Such happy kitties. Back again. Went to go sharpen her nails and then got back into it. I just get in my head a lot. I know. Maybe that's what the snail analogy is supposed to be, right? A snail can like draw his eyes into its own body. And this snail was like in water, staring out at me. And it can also pull itself into its own little shell, but instead it was in the outside world. Yeah? How about that? And then it's okay to be slow, right? To move slowly towards this goal that you're trying to manifest, dear friend. You'll be fine. Why are you nervous? God, this easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hope you're living your best life, even better with you here. Brother Joe sent you something so exciting. He sent Christian something. This one isn't for me. This one is for Christian. So he told me that he's sending one. I just get in my head, Puppy and Kitty, cause we're best friends. Puppy and Kitty, and we're best friends. Look at how sweet that little kitty is. Isn't that like the cutest thing you've ever seen? Meow. Scratchy, scratchy. She's a little sweetheart, little guardian angel. Huh? Meow. 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 You gonna try and jump on me? She looks like she's thinking about it. Oh, yes, see. She actually did it. What? She's in the tree now. She wasn't gonna jump on me. She was just gonna jump into the tree. Parkour and stuff, I guess. Parkour. You're parkour. Good for you. Stop smoking weed and having some really weird dreams. That tends to happen, dude. I'm proud of you for quitting, man. I hope it serves you well. Wow, what that pounced. I wish I got more of it. I wish I was like framed up this. That was pretty impressive. Because I was like, oh, I feel like she wants to jump on me. And then I felt the energy of her leaping. And I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. There's gonna be nails in my face and in my neck and in my head, isn't there? And then I was like, wait a second. I don't feel nothing. She's such a freaking cool cat. Look at her up there. What a freaking sweetie. Yeah, it'll be like that for a minute, Connor. It's nothing to be concerned about. Yet, as long as it's not infringing on your waking hours or affecting your life in any other way. Agreed. Proud of your commitment to yourself, tuners. The dreams are a good perk, but I love weird dreams, lol. Yeah, same. I'm also a fan of the weird dreams. It can kind of make you question reality a little bit, but reality isn't what it seems. So maybe questioning reality is what we need to be doing. I want to see what this letter says. So I'm gonna. Okay. I'm butchering this envelope a little bit. I just like watching a movie projected from my brain. I'm convinced that one day I'll be able to play them like a video game. I want to lucid dream. I hope for the day that we can kind of like do like dream surfing as well, Jovan. I agree. Yeah, it is baked potato. I was right. African dream root can help you there, Jovan. Apparently, it helps. Just taking a tea break till I feel like myself. But the dreams feel like they're trying to tell me something. Write them down. Nobody writes anymore. How exciting. Nobody writes anymore? How exciting. You mean like, okay, you jumped off again. You mean like letters? Wishing you love and happiness at this wonderful season and all throughout the new year. Yeah, this was sent, I think, like while I was still at Christian's place. And it officially got here. It's only March, only end of March. Woo! Woo! Christian, aka Meltmore, sending you and your loved ones so much love this holiday season and the new year. Merry Christmas. Lisa, aka Baked Potato. That's nice. Thank you, Lisa. Sending you love-ins. I'll be giving that other one to Christian as well. I think I'll see him maybe in like a week and a half. So won't be that long either. You got a letter? This is true. No, whenever I stop smoking weed, I have really vivid nightmares. I had what was one of my first nightmares in like a decade, not smoking weed last October. Or was it the October before that? Time has completely lost all of its meaning to me, unfortunately. At one of the Octobers, I had this nightmare about dying committing suicide, in fact, and then finding myself on a train. And every single train car I would go on, I would morph into a different being. I killed the train guard getting onto the train. Felt kind of brutal. I was like, whoa, what the hell's happening? You got a letter? Thank you, Sam. I'll snag some the next time I come across it. Please do. I can half lucid dream. I can know I'm dreaming, yet I can't control it. I'm kind of the same, Connor. Like, I know fully that I'm dreaming, but I kind of allow whatever is transpiring to happen because I feel like there's something for me to learn in it. Richard, if you're feeling like nightmares, there are steps that you can take to stop them. There are, but they're not easy. And I feel like there is something to be learned nonetheless. Kitty and Pippi are giving each other love. And Connor, ADR. Hey, Google, what does ADR stand for? High dynamic range. No, that's HDR. Hey, Google, what does ADR stand for? Annual equivalent rate. No, that's AER. Doesn't seem to give me an answer. It'll make your dreams more vivid, which might help you grasp onto them a little bit better. Like for me, the best way to get deeper into lucid dreaming is just to journal the things you dream about. I have so many nightmares all the time. All the time. How about that, Joy V? Why do you think that is? I dream in HDR. Get that real dynamic range, get that contrast, get that pop, get that bright spots in your dreams. My doggy has bad nightmares. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry to hear that. I have a recurring one where I take a tea break, where I've been forced to defend myself and I accidentally killed someone. I have no awareness, but it's a dream during it. Like I had to defend myself when I killed someone as well during my dream, dude. Doesn't make you feel any better defending yourself and killing someone. Doesn't really make you feel any better. It's still like, oh goodness, what have I done? Kitty just ran up the tree trunk like a boss. Good thing she's not a tiger. She's such a tiny little one. Like she loves the amount of mobility she has because of her size. Like there's no tree an obstacle for her. Is that isn't that true? So majestic, huh? Yeah, if she was a tiger, she might pounce on me and kill me or something. Richard, do you also dream when you smoke, or is it just when you tea break? I dream, Sam, but not often. I've noticed that I dream every single night, but my ability to recall them is the only thing that suffers when I start smoking weed. Excuse me. Let's see what card shall be pulled today. I don't know. I've always had lots of nightmares since I was a little kid. My antidepressants make my dreams more vivid. Like there's something there, Joy Vive. I'm not a person that knows much about dreams and about nightmares specifically. So I don't know if I'm the person that could be helping. But I do wish upon you less nightmares, you know. I don't know if that's, something that's comfortable. I sleep really well when I'm smoking, so I don't tend to wake up. Same, same. I always thought when I wake up from a vivid dream, I'm just waking up into another dream, and then slowly I accept this is reality. Yeah, Connor, me too, dude. Like for me, the craziest thing about that is the continuity. The fact that I keep waking up in the same dream, right? That's the part that trips me out. Everybody dreams every single night. You go insane without REM sleep. This I agree with. I do believe everybody dreams always. We just don't recall. I actually asked my husband to visit me in my dreams, and he did. He's still a part of the same mentality, right? We had a whole thing worth saying on that note today of you cannot separate yourself from the mind of God. Kitty is chewing on things up there. Can you see her? Kind of, right? Maybe this will be a better perspective. Yeah. Silly kitty, silly. I didn't smoke yesterday. It's normal not to remember dreaming. Also true. I think we would lose our minds if we remembered everything always. I didn't smoke yesterday, says Jovan, and I had a dream that I fell in love with a buzzy little robot and it flew away with my heart. I've been trying not to think of it, but now I'm laughing at it. It sounds kind of cute, actually, JV. I don't know if that's a bad dream necessarily. Maybe the losing your heart to someone that loves you might be, but when I was a kid, says Connor, I used to have sleep paralysis. I watched creepypastas and horror stories all the time, so I would try to scare myself. Interesting. I had sleep paralysis once, and that was when I was taking antidepressants, and it fucked me up a little bit. I was like screaming. I was like straight up losing my mind, screaming to the point where my parents had to come into the room to make sure that I'm okay and not losing my mind or something. Hello, kitty. Are you parkouring on the sticks? The amount of agility, right? Like imagine yourself climbing something. Is that comfortable? Are you silly thing? That can't be comfy. And back on the rock she is. That's nice. That's a nice kitty. That's a kasi. That's a meow meow. Mm, that's a meow. Mm, that's a meow. Behind. There she is. In the dream, I knew I was dreaming, and I got to see him smile before the sunlight shining behind him consumed him. And then I woke up. Did it give you some closure, Candace? Seeing him melt into the sunlight? In my perspective right now, I'm imagining him being the sunlight, right? So every single time you get to see anything at all illuminated by sunlight, it is him illuminating it for you. Kitty is pushing up against me. We're gonna pull a card. Maybe we can continue with this fractal. There's Yudi in the background. Pippi chasing to meet him halfway. Kitty having the time of her life. You guys saved her. We did. We did, right? Like think about that. This kitty and Roxy that was with her, we got a call from a family that was active at the SPCA in the local town that we're in. And we got told that there was two kitties who don't have homes, who were already technically grown up, who were gonna get put down on that day. Like they were hours away from being put down. And we were like, nah, we'll give them a home here on the farm. And now Kitty gets to live the life that she deserves. She gets to climb trees. She gets to murder things. She really likes that. But she brings much joy into my life, and I appreciate her. Let me see. You guys saved her again. I'm so happy that we did. Like I feel like they know, right? Like I don't know if they could know, but they know they've been saved, and they are so grateful just to be alive every day. The first dream of him, I panicked and it jolted me from the sleep, so I definitely woke up crying. But the second one, I asked to be visited, so that helped. My husband has never looked so happy, fresh, or new. Sending Teddy more love in this moment, Candace. I had no eyes or mouth, just caved in depressions where they should be, and long, elongated arms blue. That is horrible indeed. I knew I couldn't hold him, but I could say hello. And you can say hello in this moment as well, in the same capacity as you can't hold them right now, right? The story we're telling ourselves. That's what today's stream topic was about, Joy. No, Candace, Viking Queen, is that we're ones telling ourselves stories about the events that we've been through, right? And the stories we go through tend to be the things that we use as the evidence to keep telling ourselves the story that we go through tends to be the evidence of the story we keep telling. And the fact that you're telling yourself a story of love never ceases to be an inspiration. This card, This card, it's very, very inclusive. And here I am now. Here you are, dude, surviving, having lived through your nightmares and still choosing to be alive. I feel you though. I love scary movies and stories too. I hate them. Maybe, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I have very few nightmares. And I also refuse to watch anything that's kind of like going to induce some sort of horror in me. There is a lot of blue, a lot of purple. Technically, these edges are red. There's some yellow lines. I don't know if there's much orange, but Gaia Grid, a beautiful African woman, holds the entire earth. Mama Gaia in this is depicted as an African woman. She probably would be. I feel you, though. I love scary movies. I love them, but they definitely traumatized my young mind. Yeah. Like, the way that I see it is that creating horrific things when it comes to like scary movies is again the whole storytelling thing, right? Like the person telling that story has to experience it inside of themselves first. I used to have sleep paralysis a lot. Ears would ring and I'd feel like the room was hyperventilating and someone was standing over me. Yeah, I almost want to experience it again to overcome the fear I felt. Now, the only thing that I do when I find myself in that space is breathe. Or I'm like, yeah, the switch hasn't been flipped in my brain for me to move, but I can still breathe. I had a recurring night terror when I was a kid, and I remember them. Well, Africa is the cradle of civilization, and the original people were brown. Indeed. Indeed, indeed. Right? That were our differences are even less than skin deep. Right? Pigmentation. The fact that we've attached so much bullshit to literal pigmentation of our skin is absurd to me. Joe Bot for Joe Bot. Yeah. Okay, again. We'll see this one more time. Gaia Grid. A beautiful mother holding the earth. And then we'll see what it means. Card number 58. Gaia Grid. Earth Wisdom and Fellowship. Again, right, attaching this to the story that we're telling ourselves right now. Several cultures identify energetic grids within our planet. Gaia is the consciousness of Mother Earth. Here, seen holding the planetary grid in her beautiful lap. The Earth grid or Gaia grid is associated with geomancy, ley lines, and the unified field theory. The geometry is most often represented as a dodecahedron and embodies fellowship, community, and our collective unconscious. The collective unconscious, also called the dream. How about that? Yeah, how about that? Highly activated vortices and sacred sites abound at places where these geometries intersect. Migration routes and tectonic shifts move along these paths of energy. By pulling this card, you were asked to view the way that energy moves and to observe the choices in your life that strengthen or diminish your energy. The stories you tell yourself. What brings you to your fullest potential, and where does that happen? There are places where you will feel comfortable and those that may seem to sap your power. As you choose a home on this planet and unite with Earth wisdom, you will activate your place on the planetary grid and realize resonance with the spirit of place. Fellowship can be seen as a means of connecting you through personal contact, travel, or technology to people and information that will show you exactly what you need to learn and experience at this moment in time. How about that? How about that? Yeah, connected, dear friends. connected in ways that we've never been. The Earth grid resonates alongside all of us. Dear friends, we have done it. We have streamed again. We have told ourselves the story. We have shown up beyond just motivation with action. Thank you, friends, for being here with me. This card was beautiful. That's your card in a way, Connor, to me. The reverse of that card is not all those who wander are lost. To remind you of that, it ain't melanin, it's something else. We just pick religion to fight over when we're all the same color. And if it wasn't religion, we'd probably fight over who had the shortest pinky toes. Yeah, who had the weirdest nipples, right? Some of your friends are like, what, Mel? There's a whole episode in Rick and Morty where the species is actively murdering each other because some of them have cone nipples and others have star nipples or something like that. And then they hate each other because their nipples are different and they kill one another. And then basically a parasite invades their planet and mind controls everybody. And because of that global mind control, everybody acts right and loves one another and actually works together to build society. Yeah, stop hating each other because we have different nipples. There's no difference between us. We are all the same thing. Conscious. We are that which is conscious. I have not missed when I guessed. I'm 7 out of 7. You must be clairvoyant, dude. Now, it's just about knowing what story for you, all right? What do you want to predict for yourself? And in doing so, be right about it. How about that, Connor? Stories, right? Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, well, Joy, if we don't have another and other to demonize and demean, how are we supposed to feel like the superior humans? None of us are superior to anything else, right? Every one of us are unique in our diversity. That the one thing we all have in common is that we're all different, right? That difference arises from the stories we tell ourselves about our lives, but the one observing the story is the same thing, the awareness of being, right? So I guess it's just a matter of time until we really kind of consolidate that understanding. Make it a part of ourselves, realize that there is no being superior. All of us are going to die. And all we can do is ensure that this experience is a superior one in comparison to a hateful one, right? This card was beautiful. I'll be honest with you. I have been on a drinking binge these past few weekends. I know. I'm going to do it again. I hope that eventually I will get bored of it. You won't, Connor, because people don't, right? People drink the way that you've been drinking their whole lives, and they achieve nothing in doing so, right? At the end of their lives, you don't have any evidence for all of the drinking that you've done, right? And I'm sorry, dude. I feel like I have to be strong on this point because I know you know. I know you know alcohol is not something that's good for you. And that's the reason I have to be so strong about it. I don't think alcohol in and of itself is the problem, right? If alcohol was as fun as it was and it had no negative side effects, then I'd be like, more power to you, Connor. Go and get wasted. But we know that that's not the case, right? There's clear evidence that these things are not good for us. And you have a lot to do. There's better ways to spend your time right now, Connor. Bruh, like I cannot stand for this. Oh, I cannot stand for waiting to become bored of something that you know is destroying your life. That's like me, dating a woman that is absolutely ruining my life. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to keep dating her until I get bored of her, right? In the same way, like it's a relationship you have with earth. Substances are still the earth, right? Alcohol is a part of the earth. There's molecules that the earth has produced that can turn sugars into ethanol, and then you can consume that ethanol, and then it does things to you, right? But it's still a relationship that you have. You shouldn't become bored with the relationships you have. You should choose the relationships that you have. And the fact that you can choose to stop smoking weed, but you still want to continue drinking, why? Right? What is there for you in the relationship with alcohol that isn't there for you with the relationship of smoking, and vice versa, right? What is it about being able to stop smoking that makes it harder for you to stop drinking? And drinking is addictive, right? And that's why I had to like kind of like step up. Drinking isn't something you get bored of because it's addictive. The more you do it, the more you're gaining momentum into doing it, right? Spending whatever money you're spending on alcohol, spending your youth, spending your actual brain cells, right? It's bad for you. It's also a depressant. Yeah, it's an actual depressant. It makes you feel depressed. Sure, in the moment, it might make you a little bit more sociable because it is depressing the part of you that feels anxious about how other people see you, right? And then when the alcohol wears off and you feel like shit the next day, now you have to pay, right, in time, in your observer's observed story for what you did the previous day. And if you do it weekend after weekend after weekend, you're not going to become happier, right? That depressant effect is only going to continue. Dude, I want better for you, Connor. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like I know that you know better as well. I think that's the thing that bothers me the most is why is it that we can know something is good for us or something is bad for us and choose not to do it or choose to continue to do it, right? For instance, Connor, if you had someone that you loved more than anything, right? Coming back to the relationship perspective, if you had someone that you loved more than anything, would you feed them alcohol every weekend, knowing that it's going to cause them to die quicker? It's going to cause them to develop certain types of cancer, throat cancer, liver cancer. It's going to cause them to age quicker, right? Reducing the total amount of life they get to lead. It's going to cost them an extreme amount of capital to continue purchasing the alcohol that will just be consumed, right? And then applying that love to yourself, loving yourself enough to stop yourself. The Unity episode. Yeah, it's not easy. That's not easy. Siobhan, I don't know if it gets easier. I'll be sending you love and hugs, Connor, and hope soon the alcohol will no longer serve you. I feel superior all day, every day. I have 5 little ones, and they ask me that something is, I have to do so much power in the world as to what to say. Did you know hickeys are toothless vampire marks? The more you know. Same joy. It's been keeping me going this long. I just need to find a good reason. The reason should be love, dude. Right? And I'm seeing how fear might be something that motivates you better than love. Because I've been trying to motivate you with love this whole time, but it doesn't seem to work. So is fear gonna be the thing that helps? Right? We are all gonna die. This is, a fact of reality. But do you want to die less than you are, right? Knowing that in choosing differently, you could have been more. Like yo, like, and this is like a personal fractal for me as well, Connor. I think that's the thing that I'm emotionally invested in this fractal, in the way where I believe that one of the worst things you could do for your life is be an alcoholic, because it disables you while you're drinking. It disables you the day after, and it also disables your financial freedom because it costs money in order to get drunk again, right? Like, it's all loses. Sure, you might be able to spend time with friends, but you can spend time with friends without drinking. Rather smoke weed. Seriously. I don't know if that is good advice. Don't listen to me or whatever, but I think that's better. Eat mushrooms or something, but drinking, dude. Drinking has been proven to ruin most of the lives of the people that get stuck in it, right? Hey, Google, what are the statistics of people that drink and their level of life happiness? Maybe there will be statistics or something. Alcohol consumption, life satisfaction, and mental health among Norwegian and college people. It's raised from 2.4%. Alcohol can increase the body's production of dopamine and serotonin while it's in you, right? Two of the body's happy hormones, and it can temporarily make us feel less anxious. However, long term drinking can lower levels of both of these hormones, as well as lowering blood sugar and increasing dehydration, leading to even worse anxiety, right? That, yes, sure, it might give you something in the moment, dopamine and serotonin. You might feel a little bit more, I'm doing something right. And also, I can have conversations. But then it's like a cumulative effect, right? It's momentum that you're building in the opposite direction, making you feel worse, causing you to need that thing again, to not feel worse, causing you to feel worse after not doing it anymore. And then the loop perpetuates. It's also depressant. A good reason is because you love yourself too much to die that way. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? Like, please love yourself. Please stop killing yourself that way because you're actually killing yourself. Like, alcohol has whatsoever, no health benefits, right? Even that one glass of wine thing, lies. It's not true. Alcohol is a solution, as in it literally dissolves your insides when you put it inside of yourself. And then your body has to do everything in its power, drops everything to make sure it can process those molecules. That's why some people who cannot process those molecules properly have like red flushes. Loving yourself is the job that you never finish, Connor. I have to work on it every day. Exactly. Okay, there's no getting out of it, dude. Fair enough. I feel that I need to drink to be social, or else I just want to be alone. Stories you're telling yourself, Connor. Don't like this stream we're talking about today, dude. It's the story you're telling yourself, right? I need to drink in order to be social. You're the one telling that story. So obviously, you want to believe your own stories. So change the story, Connor. Oh, I can be social without drinking. Tada. Then you go out and you be social without needing to drink. And then you're like, oh, look at this evidence. Evidence that I can have a good time having chats with my friends without drinking. And then you can do it again. And then you can change the story that you're telling yourself. Why do you want to be alone? The best way of putting drinking alcohol is borrowing happiness from tomorrow. Beautifully said. I don't know. I've never been social. I'm sorry I don't love myself enough to stop. You don't have to be sorry, dude. Right? Like, we're not trying to demonize you. We're trying to get you to a point where your life is better as a result of your own decisions. Because, and this makes me feel evil sometimes, right? Like, whether or not you drink, Connor, isn't going to directly affect my life. I believe you are affecting all of our lives because we're the same observer. And as the same observer, we're getting to observe a version of reality, you, that is Connor, that doesn't love themselves enough to stop drinking, right? To say it in kind of like brutal terms, right? So that consciousness that we are is observing that. And we are observing that as our consciousness right now looking at you in this moment. And that's what we get to see, right? And then we get to tell ourselves a story about that internally. And whatever story we tell ourselves is going to be our responsibility for what we get to feel, including this story you're telling yourself about getting this story told, right? The point we're trying to make is you stopping drinking isn't going to make our lives better as much as it's going to make your life better. You know, we're not going to be the one gaining the brunt of the goodness. You are. And all of our encouragement, all of our trying to get you to stop is so that you get to live a healthier, more happy life, right? Where you actually have the energy to do the things that you want to do. where you have the freedom. Because I believe alcohol, like many things, traps you in a cycle, right? As you said, drinking every single weekend. It's a cycle that you can be trapped in because it's a story you tell yourself about what you're supposed to be doing on the weekends. I don't know. I've never been social. I'm sorry I don't love myself enough to stop. I I hate that story so much, dude. Man, like I really I really don't like that story. Oh, well said, Richard. It's a gamble. Risking not recalling it is a gamble, literally. Loving yourself is a job that you never finish, Connor. I have to work on it every day. Me too. Me too. Every single day, I have to make choices for my health instead of for my detriment, right? And it doesn't get any easier. I think that's the part that pisses me off the most is that it is still just as hard as it has been from the very first day. It hasn't gotten easier. I have gained more momentum. I've gained more evidence that I'm capable of it, but it's still just as hard every single time I have to make the decision. I think it's so much easier to love others than it is to love ourselves, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't keep trying. It is easier to love others than it is to love ourselves because we spend most of the time with ourselves and we have the most evidence as to why not to love ourselves. While at the same time, I believe the only way to be loved is to love yourself, right? Again, the bandwidth problem. Your access to love when it comes from yourself is infinite. Think about that. You can love yourself infinitely. You can spend, right, your entire life thanking from deep gratitude, lovingly, each and every single one of your cells, right? Seeing, oh yeah, there's a cell here. Oh, thank you so much, my cell, for making sure I stay alive. And if you had the attention span to continue doing that, you could love yourself for the rest of time, but nobody else can. Nobody else can. Only you can, right? So I feel like we have this responsibility to ourselves to actually love ourselves properly as well. What Joy said, Connor, maybe not yet, but you're working on it, right? And so you are loving yourself more. I have faith in you, friend. We all do. We all do so much, right? Otherwise, we'd just be like, oh yeah, Connor is a lost cause. Do what you want to do, Connor. Drink yourself into a stoop. Do it. We don't care. No, we fucking care. We care too much sometimes. It makes me depressed thinking about it. Yet, when I'm there, I just do it regardless. I have never been one to think about my body long term. You deserve that, Brother Bear. You do. An anecdote from my experiences. My father has been sober for 28 years as of about 2 weeks ago. He and many others have told me that at the height of his drinking, most people thought he would die soon. It is a melting yourself away kind of thing. I do believe. It's like it's an actual acid, right? It dissolves you. So I'm happy that your dad stopped as well. Thank you for sharing that anecdote, Dan. That was 28 years ago. Anything is possible when you open yourself up to life. Beautifully said. The alcohol is just a symptom. What disease are you trying to cure with it, Connor? Good question. Very good question. What kind of things do you like to do, Connor? Maybe you could consider putting yourself in a different social situation where you don't feel that peer pressure. Very wise. Connor, I went through a heavy drinking phase years ago too. This is my anecdote. But it'll get easier the more momentum that you build. The more proud you'll be of yourself and the more you'll love what you like to do. Yeah, beautifully said. And I'm going to stress specifically the point of the social situations you put yourself in, right? Because you've mentioned now beautifully that it makes you depressed thinking about it. But when you go and put yourself in the space where drinking is what's socially acceptable, you do it anyway. Stop putting yourself in those social situations, right? Find people who don't like drinking. Go somewhere that you like doing the things that's going to be done there. Go to the gym, dude. Like, honestly, go and make gym bro friends. Gym bro friends probably don't drink. If they're serious about their weightlifting journey, they know that drinking is not something that facilitates any growth. So maybe that could be one way to do it. Hmm. I've offered many times, tuners, but I'll offer again. My door is always open if you'd like to work through these things with my flower remedies. They taste like alcohol as well. How about that, Connor? That might be like a perk. It'll be like you're trying alcohol, but actually you'll be ingesting remedies, slowly healing yourself. If I ever get out of this slump, you friends will be the ones that kept me going on this deep end, and we'll be celebrating you. Like that's something, maybe see that in your future, right, Connor? In this story that we're telling ourselves, I look forward to celebrating you after you tell me you're completely done drinking and you've been done drinking for months now and you haven't touched the stuff, and how your life has changed as a result of it. I look forward to that day. Look at me. I will see that day. I'm smelling something burning. I always seem to show up when I really need it, and we'll keep showing up for you too, dude. Remind yourself. Whoa, you're all still here, waiting for you, Duck Dad. Took a lot of doing, but Duckling is back on my side. Yeah, wins. Connor, you're strong. Yes. Don't need to read my comments mouth, Connor's topic. I am gonna read your comments anyway, Duck Dad. I love you, friend. Connor, I went through heavy drinking for years too. I've read one. Don't need. I feel like I have been on this journey since I joined. I have told you all more than anyone. I have faith in you, friends, and I'm blessed to have that reciprocated. And we have faith in you, dude. I feel like maybe that's why we're so strongly feeling into this topic with you, is that we know you're us, right? You're the same awareness of being. And you are aware of you being something you don't want to be. You're aware of it, right? And it's just a matter of choosing. I am 24, yet sometimes I feel like I'm 21 and I should act my age and be a stupid kid for a while longer. I get that too, right? I do get that too, Connor. But there is nothing to be lost in growing up, right? Discipline can make you feel trapped. But yesterday we talked about that specifically, that discipline is you building something, right? Building evidence for the person you want to be, for the castle you want to live in as your divinity. And yeah, you can feel alone as you're building. You can feel like you're trapped as you apply discipline. But you'll get to live in the story that you've told yourself, right? And that's the question we should ask is, right now, what story am I telling? And do I want to continue telling this story? If I continue telling this story, where will this story lead me? Right? Is the story of drinking every weekend going to lead me to a better life or a worse one? Right? I'm not saying that I know the answers. In fact, you could potentially, right? And this is, I don't even want to say this because it might be a fractal you hold on to, but you could potentially get the opportunity of a lifetime drinking yourself into a stupor with a person, right? You could potentially do that. But I believe you probably get more opportunities with people that don't drink themselves into stupors, and that opportunity would lead you further than the other one would. Choose the stories you want to tell yourself. It's hard. I didn't drink for years. There were work happy hours and even social events, and party was geared around drinking. It was like avoiding landmines. So I feel you on social drinking, Connor. Same, right? And I'm kind of like a victim of that as well, where if I go to family events, especially, drinking is just what is done. And then I drink as well. But I go to social or family events. I've gone to one this year, and I went to like one last year. Yeah. So I feel I'm not trying to tell you to stop completely, but doing it every weekend, that feels like something that could lead to a pattern that you don't actually want to, follow. A story that you don't want to continue telling. Joy Beefs, facts. I did it in Wisconsin, the drinking capital of America. I switched to seltzer water with lime. Looked alcoholic. Good advice. Pretend that you're drinking, Connor. Pretend that you're drinking. On the other hand, I have seen where that path goes. Yeah, that's smart. Wait a second. The acting, yeah, like a stupid kid for a while longer. You're not a stupid kid. Oh, you've never been. You're here to learn, right? And as that version of self, you'll always be a child. But you're not stupid, right? You know what's at stake here. Your life is at stake. The version of yourself that you'll be in this life is what's at stake. It's like the ultimate stakes, even. I too, Joy, am not the type to open up. You friends have done it beautifully. We're reaching out to us, Connor. We love all of you. It helps these people, especially. Stupid Kid is an awesome alkaline trio song. I don't think I've heard it. I have been building a massive bladder and I need to go to the bathroom. It sucks when you have to pretend people get real weird and you say you don't drink and try to push it on you. Yeah, because I feel like it's that fractal of ego where the ego knows it's not supposed to be drinking. And then if another person kind of displays that knowing, your ego is like, nah, this person needs to be drinking. Because if they're drinking, that makes me feel like I'm doing something right. Knowing that it's not doing something right, doing everything in its power to convince you to do what's wrong, so that all of us are doing what's wrong together, so that we can feel we are right. Stories. So many stories the ego tells. Okay, I think Connor sent, I do need to tell myself better stories. That's simple. And you are, Brother Bear. You are telling yourself better stories. Every single time you come here, I I know, fortunately, or at least I felt into this fractal of being a little bit more direct with you, to say it in so many words, because I believe in you. I see the masculine strength that is within you, the willingness to change, to transform the story you're telling yourself. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Stories you are seen, Connor but nonner, celebrating you and the steps that you take. There we go. The celebration has already started, Connor. I find overall, Joy Vives, that most people are very susceptible to not drinking. If you are clear and confident and short when you say you don't need to drink, yeah, be like, yeah, no, thank you. I'm okay. Back when I was dating, I had a guy ghost me after I told him I didn't drink. In case you dodged a bullet. Joy Vive. Love to all of you. Blessings. So many blessings. I love all of you friends so much. And I thank you for joining me today. It's a big deal when you come here and share with us, all of you friends. I love you. I love you so much. I'm happy that we went into this topic today, right? Talking about the stories we tell ourselves. These are important stories. Happy pee break. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it, dude. That experience of relief. Oh, I give back water to the universe. Thank you for letting me borrow it. I love you, friends. And I'll see you again soon. Tomorrow on Manifest. Yeah, I love you. Sending you even more strong. Doug Dad, you, Connor, Jovan, Shannon, and Joy Vive. Any of you friends that I don't name directly, looking at you specifically. I love you. Thank you for joining me. Cheers, cheers. Goodbye, everybody. Cheers, James and Johnson.